Everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy A17 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy A16 and see which particular type of phone is a better one for you. Now, the big thing I can probably tell you is that for the everyday average person, it probably makes a lot more sense to, maybe buy the A17, but I'm going to be honest, there are some better types of devices out there that I would recommend buying even more so than these things. So I will go ahead and kind of break down both these phones throughout this whole entire video. But if you want to go through and pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular phones. The Samsung Galaxy A16 came out a little bit late last year. It's actually almost a year old or over a year old as of this point. And with the Galaxy A16, this is a phone that was kind of like a budget tier Samsung device. Right? It's supposed to be a cheaper type of device. It's not supposed to be anything super crazy. This phone on the front side is giving you a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. So this type of phone, it's a Super AMOLED display. There really isn't anything super crazy going on here. And, it's a good type of panel. If you're trying to go through and pick up some certain of a device out there, this thing is still going to be giving you like a good type of, situation, but it's 90 hertz. It doesn't really get that bright. It has this, Infinity U display on it, and then it has a big bezel on the bottom. The layout of it is a little bit different, but it's not really super crazy, but I do think if you're going to go through and, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, the Galaxy A16's exterior and its outside, it's not really that terrible. It's not really too bad. But as I mentioned before, you might be able to get a better type of experience in some like older Samsung flagship rather than this one. The Samsung Galaxy A17 is more or less kind of the exact same situation on the front side. So it's basically giving you the same like 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. It's 90 Hz on this and it's 800 nits of peak brightness. So that right there is also another really big thing. I feel like if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, this is also going to be able to give you a pretty good type of experience when it comes down to it from that side. So I will tell you, if you're picking up a phone, that is also another really cool thing. But, if you're looking at both, there's going to be some differences. There's going to be some really key differences when it comes down to both of them. You're getting USB Type-C ports on the bottom of both, which is really good. You're getting SD cards on this, inside of both of them as well. On the back side, you are getting these plastic backs. So you're getting a plastic back on both, a triple camera setup on the back side of both as well, which is really nice. You're not really getting anything super crazy though. You're not getting like reverse wireless charging. You're not even getting wireless charging. You're getting pretty much a pretty standard type of layout, nothing super crazy, but it's more or less what you'd expect for a phone of this day and age. But the big thing to keep in mind here is the price tag. The Galaxy A16 right now on Amazon is about $130. The Galaxy A17 is about $214. So if you are about to go through and get a device, the Galaxy A17 is only a little bit more expensive than the Galaxy A16. But the really big thing to keep in mind here is that even at $200, there might be an older Samsung flagship of 2-3 years ago that is only slightly more expensive that might be better, right? Phones like the Galaxy S23, they're probably less than $300, and that would be a much more phenomenal phone to buy than something like a Galaxy A17. So if you are about to go through and pick up a phone, that right there is going to be a very big takeaway. And I will tell you from that side, that is going to be one of those big things to keep in mind there. Again, nothing super crazy, but it is another one of those small minor things. When it comes down to their cameras, they're both kind of giving you these triple camera setups. They're not really anything super crazy though, and they're way more similar than they are different. With the Galaxy A17 and the 16, they're both giving you 50 megapixel wide angle cameras, 5 megapixel ultra wide cameras, and then a 2 megapixel macro camera. So from that side, they're both a little limited, right? They're both pretty much not going to be giving you like super crazy things. They're both giving you 1080p at 30 frames per second, and on the front side, 1080p at 30 frames per second too. Essentially almost the exact same type of layout on both. So if you're trying to go through and pick up a phone in this particular situation, both these phones are going to be giving you very similar types of experiences. There's not really any big difference. Basically what I'm trying to get at is both of these cameras are very average. That's kind of the best way to put it. I wouldn't really recommend looking at these phones and being like, you have to buy them. They're amazing. They're a very limited type of devices. And that's just kind of what ends up happening if you're going to go through and pick up these types of phones. So I will tell you from that side, if you're picking up a device, you are basically getting a very limited type of experience on your device as it kind of comes down to it. It's not anything super crazy though, like I mentioned before, but if you're picking up a device, kind of keep that in mind when it comes down to it. Now, when it comes down to software longevity, obviously the Galaxy A17 is probably going to last a little bit longer than something like a Samsung Galaxy A16. The Galaxy A17 is probably going to get another 6 years of software support, where the Galaxy A16 is going to be getting 6 years of software support as well. So both of these are going to be able to give you a very similar type of experience from that side. But like I mentioned, if you are probably going to go through and pick up a phone, you probably want to go ahead and get the one that is going to be giving you a better experience. The Galaxy A17 is going to be slightly longer lasting, but again, it's not really going to be anything super crazy, and you're still going to be able to get a good type of experience between both. But if you're trying to get the one that's going to be better, then I would say something like the Galaxy A17. But even then, it's like kind of the same situation. On top of that, when it comes down to their batteries, they're both giving you 5,000 mAh batteries inside. So that right there can also be another really big thing, because if you're going to go through once again and pick up a device, you're definitely going to be able to get a good type of experience between both these devices from that particular side as well. So if I'm picking up a device, I'm definitely going to be able to feel like both these phones are going to be able to give me a good type of experience from a battery life perspective. And that's something I love about their Galaxy A series. These phones last a very long time from a software perspective. On top of that, as it comes down to their capability in some other areas like their performance, this is another big one. The Galaxy A17 is going to be able to give you the Exynos 1330 chipset with 4, 6, or 8 gigs of RAM, where the Galaxy A16 is going to be able to give you that MediaTek Helio G99 chipset with 4, 6, or 8 gigabytes of RAM. So that right there is also going to be another big thing, right? If you're wanting the phone that is going to be giving you a little bit of better type of experience, the Galaxy A16 is probably going to be the one that is, it's just not going to be as fast as something like a Galaxy A17, right? The A17 is going to be the one that is probably going to be a little bit of a better type of device. But even then, it's really not that big of a difference, because if you're kind of looking at the two, it's just not really going to be anything super crazy that we haven't already seen before. And that's kind of one of those things to keep in mind, because as you're kind of going through and picking up a device, these types of devices are just kind of, they're just not really going to be that fast. And I would hate for you to go through and pick up a phone if it's already going to be kind of a little bit outdated by the time you buy it. And that is kind of what's going on here for the most part, right? These types of devices are just going to be a little bit limited. There's going to be far better types of devices out there to go ahead and buy rather than these ones. And that is kind of what I'd recommend kind of thinking about, right? It's like, what is the point of even going through and buying these types of devices when there might be some better options out there for the most part? So to kind of sum it up, what I definitely will tell you is that in my personal opinion, both these phones really aren't really that great. And there are substantially better types of devices to go through and buy rather than these ones. Like if I'm about to go through, like I said before, and buy a phone, I definitely want to go through and buy a device that's going to be giving me a better type of experience. And these ones, they're just going to be a little bit more limited. So kind of keep that in mind. I still think these types of devices are good, but I would recommend buying a Galaxy S23, right? Buy a Galaxy S23, even a Galaxy S20 2, I think would still be a much better device to go and buy rather than this one, right? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to go through and recommend people to go through and buy something like a Samsung Galaxy, A17 or A16 anymore, right? Those types of devices just don't really make too much sense to me when there's substantially better types of devices to go ahead and buy. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.